today's topic is moments. Now, I'd like to start out with some philosophical analogy about moments. So, uh, most people probably heard of the analogy of when you just start walking and you walk half the road, it never ends because, well, think of the road as like 100 meters, and at first you walk half of it, that's 50, and then the other half, that's 25, and 12.5, and so on. And as you keep walking, as you reach the halfway point, it never ends. It gets smaller, 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 but it never ends. The moment that, up until the moment that you arrive, it never ends, all right? The second that you arrive, it never existed because there's no such thing as the road anymore. It's unrelevant, and it has the numerical number of zero because the distance between your location and the destination is zero, so it doesn't exist anymore. There's no, you can't divide zero by two. It mathematically ceased to exist. I believe a moment is the same. It has no distinct length because time is not a quantitative concept. Whatever, coming back to the original topic, moments exist within your life because your life is quantitative. Because your life, we're gonna need it pretty soon. Again, I have a graph. This is your life. It's how you see your own life. It's linear from your birth to your death. And see, this is related to the last video. The yellow parts is how you feel, as in like positive upwards, negative downwards. And these red dots, they're all moments. I'm sure most people will have a similar situation to this, like you're out with your friends, you're enjoying a nice evening, whether that be food, coffee, drinks, whatever floats your boat, and for a split second, you feel incredibly depressed and upset, even when you're trying to find the reason why. It just goes away and you're happy again. A moment can be defined as a lot of things, which I think is beautiful, but it makes it harder to talk about it. Getting back to what I was talking about, because your life is quantitative, it's linear, it's made out of moments that are interlinked with each other. It's like a chain. They can be fragments of seconds, they can be minutes, it doesn't matter. They're like links of a chain. But when your life ends, when you reach the certain point, which is death, there were no moments because now that it's gone, the distance between your death and where you're at right now is zero. The numerical value is zero. The moments are gone because there's no links anymore. You cannot divide zero, so they don't exist. Okay, so now that I've gotten you confused, let's get to the more practical thoughts. This time, let's define moment as a chain link in the chain. Let's talk about it in the context that you're living now, you're alive, and there are links in the chain, so you're not dead yet. So the moments exist. As I briefly mentioned in my other video, a moment in your life never comes back. You can only live it once. After it's concluded, it's gonna lead to other moments and it's gonna be in the past. And because your life is linear, you can only go from birth to death this way. There's no reverse gear. You can't go back. Tied to this, I think even the dull moments are unique. Like you could be sitting in your classroom or you could be sitting in the office, work, whatever, you can be dead tired. That's unique. The circumstances of that particular moment are never going to come together again. Even if they did, which they can't, you can never bathe in the same river twice. So even if the physical circumstances and your mental circumstances and how you feel, etc., even if they all line up, there's going to be a different mental process because the experience that you have is different. So it's not going to be the same moment again. This thought of a moment never coming back ties into your life being linear and limited, so you never get a second back. Which I think within itself, this concept is interesting. Your life is linear, but time is a cycle, as almost everything is. Religions teach this. Not all religions, but most of them, at least that I know of, teach the idea that you come from a certain place or a certain thing, that you're gonna go back to it after you're dead. This can be reincarnation because then you're just basically getting reincarnated many times as many different things. This can be, as in Islam, humans were made from soil, and when they're dead, they're buried, so they go back into the soil. For some religions, it's fire. Even in the old mythologies, most of the time, if I recall correctly, in Turkic mythologies and Egypt as well, also they have notes of the same thing in the Nordic mythologies, that you're in a certain place before you're born, in a certain place, and after your journey through this physical earth, you don't cease to exist, and you keep existing in that place where your soul was. For this, these people, the ancients, sent off their dead with some of their items, trinkets, their horses, their weapons, sometimes their slaves. Especially in old Egyptian tombs, they're buried with some food. Sometimes they're slaves, they're, I don't know, combs and stuff like that. Old Nordic people have funerals where, put the person on a small boat, set it on fire with their personal items on it, and send them to their journey. Well, too much. This, your life being linear and limited and never getting a second back, sounds very depressive when you first think about it. Like, I imagine a clock watch just, you know, going down and down up until the point where it's zero and I'm dead. This is actually what makes life worth living, because if it were unlimited, then it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I would do none of the things that I'm doing right now. I would know that I have infinite amount of time to do anything I wanted. So I probably would be very lazy and wouldn't do anything. So the next one goes, your mind is completely different from any person ever. This includes your cognitive ability, the ways and methods of your thinking, and most importantly, the experiences that you've had. When you combine all three of these, it makes every moment physically and processed in your mind completely unique. Nobody ever will see the thing in the same angle as you and think about it the same. This also comes with, again, a scary but a beautiful thing. It's how no one will ever understand or comprehend anything like you did. This is including even if you tell them what you think about it, because then words are going to come into play. Verbal communication is very ineffective, so they're going to hear it, process it with their own experiences, and again have their own thoughts. This makes me feel lonely. It's sort of sad, but being very unique, no matter who you are, is, I think, very beautiful. Every yin has its yang. It's tough to enjoy when you're not fulfilling your responsibilities. Again, responsibilities are a thing that can be discussed, but there are certain things that you have to do in any age of humanity if you want to survive. Like nowadays, you have to go to work, you have to make money, but in older times, this could have meant raiding a village for food, or trying to grow crops, or trying to pick fruits, or hunt an animal, things related to survival. Almost every human ever had to do some stuff to survive, or ensuring the survival of others. that's going to be responsibilities. But I think they also include something which is sentimental. I've had this thought while I was cleaning my cat's litter box. She was standing by me, just checking what I was doing, whatever. Before I noticed that she was standing there, I was not very pleasant because, well, it smelled like cat piss. It's not a enjoyable chore in general. But when I saw that she was just sitting there and looking at me and checking her litter box, I thought this is, a big part of her life. I'm trying to help her with that necessity. She's here with me and she sees that I'm doing it. And I felt like she'd appreciate it in some way, even if she didn't, regardless if she did or not. It made me happy because she depends on me to survive. This gives me a sense of being needed, which I think every human somehow has. All right, these were the major ones. Now, there's going to be some rapid fire bullet points. First, I think it's a privilege to see, feel, taste, hear, smell anything, because again, it's going to be a unique experience of how you process that sensation, and how does it compare to your prior experiences. And again, even if you and me and somebody else felt the same breeze, if we're sitting side by side, we're all gonna think and feel very, very different things. And I think this is very nice. The other rapid fire bullet point is we have the cumulative knowledge of humankind. This is just to appreciate the age that we live in. Some of the stuff is like horrible, probably the worst it has been ever, but some stuff is nice. I particularly enjoy knowing about how prior people lived, even if the correctness of the knowledge is very controversial and we're not certain. I still like having the idea. But every new generation is going to have this bullet point, because as we progress, there's going to be more knowledge to be stored and consumed. So I think this is nice, and this makes me more curious about the future. As much as I learn about the past, it makes me want to know about the future more, if it makes sense. The last one, realizing that neither struggle nor happiness is endless. So this again ties to the last video, and I'll show the graph again. The yellows are ups and downs. It's like a business cycle. You're gonna have growth, and then you're gonna have a recession, and it's just gonna keep dancing up and down, up and down, up and down, with a trend. Yeah, which the trend here is time. So I made it linear for your life cycle, whatever. But actually, what I think is life is not linear. When you look at your own life from your own perspective, it's going to be linear. Or let's say in the present, any life is linear because it's limited and it's going to end and nobody's getting any younger. But actually, this is how philosophers, religions, or methods of thinking throughout human history have viewed life. It's a cycle from your birth, you grow and you develop and you grow old, some cases, and then you die. And as you can see, I didn't connect it exactly, but I still have some connection there, because, well, before we die, we cannot know. We'll see when we die. I actually agree with this when I think about the definition of life in a more general term. It doesn't change the fact that life is linear when you live it, or the life that you're talking about is being lived right now. So when you talk about someone that's already dead or someone that hasn't been born yet, it's going to be the circular one, because they're not in the present timeline yet, or they won't be. So they're at the small points between birth and death. But now we're actually alive and we're somewhere in the linear space. Some people are here, they have a lot to go. Some people are here, but they don't know that they're here yet. Frankly, I think comprehensibility of life and moments is what makes it beautiful, and not knowing what's next makes it more exciting and scary. I think there's almost always something to look forward to, but most of the time we don't even know what. Some stuff like big disasters, loss of family, things of that sort might seem like the end, but it's only the end for that person or people who are already dead. I think as long as you're alive, there is something that can be done or something to look forward to. What I'm trying to say is there's going to be a point of existence. So I'm not very nihilistic, as one can say.